Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again. I want to try one more few seconds to see if I can make this thing about life, our individual and collective lives, or even our national lives, become a little clearer. Look at our situation like this. Our situation in this government, Republican and Democrat, black and white, is like a marriage. You know, many of you are married or have been married, so you're familiar with some of the occurrences that can just tear things apart. But what I actually see happening is that with the Republican and Democratic Party, we have a marriage between two individuals, two parties, that can't stand each other. They can't stand each other. Each one figures they're the only one that's right. And not only that, you don't care about the other. Now that's a marriage that's failed. That's a marriage that's going nowhere. Even if one party leaves with that attitude that you're the only one that's right, you're still never going to get anywhere. You have to realize that neither of you are right unless both of you can come up with something that works for both of you. If it doesn't work for both of you, then each of you are wrong. But that's the way I see it. Now, let's go back to that story in the garden. Let me see if I can kind of give you some picture based upon your own life experiences that might draw you to a better conclusion of what is truly happening. I can see Adam in that garden and Eve. I can see Adam since everybody says the information was given to Adam. And I can say it because man, in many instances, knows what's best for himself at least, and he might know what's best for us, or more of us. But I can see that if God said, do not eat from this tree of the knowledge of good and evil, what it basically means, don't be screwing, don't be having sex outside of yourselves. You know, if you want to deal with yourselves, that's okay. But there is a restriction. Do not deal with this. Now, why I don't deal with that? Because this is what happens. This is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, in most instances, if not in most, many. Once a man touches some fruit that he's been denied, and when you say thou shalt not, you know what that means. That's temptation. Can't wait to see why that is there. You know, like the mother and the parents say, don't do this, and you can't wait to do what they said don't do. And if it's good, you can see, well, that's why they told me not to do it. And there you go. The same thing without sex. The parents say, don't be indulging in sex, girl and boy. And they go out there, somebody say, well, it ain't that bad. And then once you touch it, oh, you ain't got to go that far. You can just go with yourself. Lead other people out. Once you touch that pleasure, ain't nothing gonna stop you unless you just can't do it. So this is what happens. You take, put them in that garden. And if Adam and Eve violate the rule, they do indulge, then I can guarantee you this. I can guarantee you this. Especially when it comes down to the other people. That man or woman, it's the other people. I'm not going to claim anyone but the other one. But they say to each other, or they say to the other, if you want to deal with this, you're going to have to do what I say. I don't care what God says. If you want this, you're going to have to do what I say. This is what happens every day. Men break their necks trying to please women. I guess some women break their necks trying to please men. I don't know. Nobody ever tried to break their necks trying to please me. But I'm sure it does for some people. And so here's what we got. We got people who are judging one another, people who are placing one another in the place of God. Now, and however often I talk to you about the realities of the day, but I have to bring it back to God. Now, I'm saying that to say this. We get on our knees every night and we pray and ask God to help us. Is God helping us? If God is helping us, we can't see it. So what does that mean? Why would I help you when you won't help yourself? When you pray for peace and prosperity and freedom and joy, and I tell you how you can have it and you reject it, well, I realize that you don't know and you can't accept it because you've been deceived. And the truth is the farthest thing away from you. The truth is the farthest thing away from you. If you want to think I'm lying, if you're a man, get you a hard-headed woman. Get you a hard-headed woman that you can't tell nothing. You might go straight to hell because ain't nothing going to go right because that hard-headed woman going to be against everything you say. Or let's reverse it. Woman, get yourself a hard-headed man. It don't matter what you say. Anything you say don't mean nothing because that hard-headed man ain't going to listen to nobody. So what you got, what I'm expressing, is the two hard-headed people. Two hard-headed people, Republican, Democrat, black and white. Hard-headed, you can't tell nothing. And what you have is What is happening in China? China have already given up. You got one man running the world in China. Everybody. Well, if the top doesn't say it, it doesn't exist. Why? Because the top has replaced God. Now, I don't know what Chinese believe in when it comes down to all those different gods they've been praying to. I don't even know what the Africans believe, because they have kept a lot of that information from us. And a lot of our research doesn't even give us the truth. But in America, I do know what's happening, because I've been here all the time. And it's nothing but a hell-bent fruit. And it's a marriage that's broken. If you want to fix America, fix your marriage. If you want to fix the world, fix your marriage. What does that mean? Everybody matters. Everybody matters. And anytime you can see a person who can pull in all, grasp all to a certain magnitude, that you can build your own plane, build your own spaceship, and go up and fly in space and float around and come back and hold up your hand about how magnificent you are, how divine you are. What difference is there between you and those that built the Tower of Babel trying to get to heaven? It ain't gonna get you there. It ain't gonna do nothing but cause you problems. Now, the problems that we have today, they were not as big when people couldn't fly up in space and float around and come back down. Our problems were not as big when people had some limitations on what they could do and they weren't doing it. But the more freedom they got, the more information they got, the more liberty they got to grow, then hell became the bottom floor. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I thought I was going to talk just a second, but I talked longer than that, so I think I'll stop on this second. Goodbye.